Well, good afternoon. Happy Friday, November 7th. Mark Milam here, your mortgage professional. So, for years now, almost every Friday, I've been coming to you to talk about mortgage interest rates, what's happening in the mortgage market, how the macroeconomic world is affecting homeownership affordability, what's coming down the pike, and hopefully it's been either entertaining or educational if you've tuned in for any of this. That has certainly been the goal, and I learn a lot in putting these together. But I come to you today frustrated, and I want to frame this under the auspices of what's happening in the housing market and what has been happening in the housing market now since mid 2022. I'm going to flip the screen around and show you existing home sales and show you just the levels that we have been hovering at really since the end of 2022, roughly the 4 million mark on annualized existing home sales post pandemic. And you can see compared to pre pandemic, these are really anemic levels. These are what we call recessionary levels of transactions. Why? Well, it's pretty well publicized why. Home ownership affordability, right? It's just so expensive to own a home. We saw this run up in home values throughout the decade of the 2010s. It was exacerbated during the pandemic. Interest rates masked that because they were artificially low thanks to the Fed's involvement in buying mortgage backed securities to suppress mortgage interest rates. And so we come out the other side of that in a world where homes are overpriced and mortgage rates are too high for another generation of Americans to buy them. And so we find ourselves now more than 36 months into a housing recession with no real solution in sight. I want to show you one more chart, and this is existing home inventory. And so we saw inventory start to grow earlier this year, and that was exciting for a lot of us because we wanted to get back to a balanced market, which is about 6 to 7 months worth of inventory. We haven't really ever gotten there. And now we're starting to see existing home inventory begin to decline. Well, why is that happening? Well, some of it's seasonal. We're going into Q4 here and towards the end of the year. We always see inventory decline as we move towards the holidays, but some of it it's just there's just not enough buyers for these sellers, and the sellers are not going to take these supremely discounted offers that they might be getting if they are even getting an offer, and they're pulling their homes back off the market. All of this to tell you that there really has been no solution to this problem. The United States housing market is the largest asset class in the entire world, and it has been languishing in a recession for 3 years without any sort of solution from anybody in government on either side of the aisle. And that's why we were so hopeful when we got the news that an industry professional, a mortgage industry well respected professional, Barry Habib, was on the board of Fannie Mae. That happened this year, and was going to be making recommendations to the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, Bill Pulte, on how to make home ownership more affordable. Wow. One of the three elements that I have pointed to now for over a year that could improve affordability overnight is the relaxation or the removal of loan level price adjustments from mortgage interest rates. And here is an industry professional making recommendations to the director of the very entity that controls these loan level price adjustments. And there was such optimism around this until we saw this article right here from Housing Wire that says Barry Habib's proposal to the Federal Housing Finance Agency would bring relief on loan level price adjustments to first time home buyers? No. Not to primary residences? No. To seconds homes and cash out refinances. So the relief that we may get, if it even comes, will be for people wealthy enough to purchase a second home or for people who already own a home and want to pull cash out of it. That is such an extreme disappointment to address a 3 year long housing recession. I cannot begin to tell you how frustrating that is. And when we fast forward to more news this week from the National Association of Realtors, we come to learn that first time home buyers are now representing 21% of all home sales. This is the lowest measure in the history of this survey, dating back over 40 years. We have never had a number this low. Couple that with the average age of first time home buyers now reaching 40 years old. So, this survey, which is about 6,000 home purchasers who respond to this survey, admittedly, it is a small survey, but 6,000 respondents respond to this survey to say that the average age of a first time home buyer has now reached 40 years old. The average age of a repeat home buyer is now 62 years old. The median age of a home buyer, first time or repeat is now 59 years old. It's the highest we have ever witnessed. And if you want to see how unique and unbelievable this is, you just need to look at this chart right here. This is the surge in the average age of first-time home buyers since 2020. And you can see now we are at 40 years old because an entire generation of home buyers has been priced out. Listen, we are an amazing country. We have developed stealth technology, COVID vaccines, had a huge hand in developing AI, but there just doesn't seem to be a concerted effort to address home ownership in this country. And for that reason, we have been stuck here with a generation of Americans who have become disillusioned about the prospects of buying a home. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are government-sponsored enterprises that are overseen by the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and the director of that agency is Bill Pulte, who can control what loan level price adjustments are handed down. These two entities have a first-time home buyer program, and to qualify for that first-time home buyer program, where you can exempt out of these loan level price adjustments, you're income restricted. You're income restricted to 100% of area median income for whatever area that you're buying in. Here in Atlanta, that's $113,500. What's fascinating about that to me is that we base qualification for a first-time homebuyer program on income, yet we adjust the conforming loan limit that these entities lend to, not on average income, we adjust it on home price appreciation. And we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is always the time where we get the new conforming loan limit. I'll guarantee you, when we get it this year, it's going to adjust upwards to around $830,000, meaning a conforming loan, a Fannie Mae Freddie Mac loan, will now be a loan amount up to $830,000. Yet we base a first-time home buyer program not upon home price appreciation, but upon wages. And we all know that home price appreciation has significantly outpaced wage appreciation. And that trend is more than likely going to continue into the future. We do not have a serious administration now, nor did we have one with the prior administration when it comes to addressing home ownership affordability. And we're calling on the Federal Housing Finance Agency to reconsider relaxing or removing loan level price adjustments for people wealthy enough to buy second homes and instead focus on first-time home buyers who need their help now more than any time in the history of the country in order to be able to pursue the American dream. If I can be of any service to you over the weekend, don't hesitate to reach out, mark.milam@highlandmtg.com.